In this video, I'll show you the easiest way to do retopology in Blender, and without wasting any of your time, let's get started. So to get started with retopology, we need to first of all define the proper edge flow for any good fish retopology. I'm going to use the annotation tool to just mark out those edge flows that we need, and you can actually follow along and do this because it will be helpful while we build out the retopology for the character. And before you actually start drawing with the annotation tool, just make sure the placement is on surface, and you can also check stabilize stroke. So we need proper edge loop around the eye, like so. And then we need proper edge loop around the mouth. We need proper edge flow also around the ears. We need proper edge flow from the bridge of the nose down to the chin. And then we need proper edge flow that comes from the forehead down to the jaw and comes back over the chin like so. I'm going to go up to this annotation and just make sure to uncheck in front so that we don't see the annotation through the mesh. And now we can actually start adding geometry. We're going to build out the edge loops with these guidelines we have drawn. And for the annotation, I can also reduce the opacity to about 0.4. And now we can Shift A mesh, add in a plane. And I want to make sure not to move this mesh in object mode. So I'm just going to edit mode, RX90, to rotate it on the x-axis, and I'll just bring this forward, scale it down, and move it to the left side of the character. And now we need some modifiers. I'm going to add in the mirror modifier. Make sure clipping is turned on. I'm also going to add the shrink wrap modifier, and I'm going to select the target objects as our sculpt. I'm also going to hide the eyebrows and the eyelashes so that they don't really interfere while we are placing down new geometry. And also for the snapping, for the snap target, I'm going to choose face projects. I'm also going to make sure it affects the rotation and scale. Make sure that it's turned on, so anytime we scale or anytime we rotate, the snapping will take place. We need only one vertex to start, so I'm just going to select all these other vertices and delete them. And then I'm going to extrude one to the middle of the eye and one to this other endpoint, one to this middle, and I'll join those two with F. I'm going to add in an extra vertex here. Do the same here just to add in a little bit more geometry to those loops. And now we can expand this loop. I'm going to extrude this like so, and I'll just extrude around the edge of the eye, following the vertices that we already placed down. And I'll just join these two with F on the keyboard. And now we can fill in those faces. And just to differentiate our retopology plane from the actual sculpt, I'm going to go to the object mode, and under viewport display, I'm just going to choose color, a different color from the sculpted mesh. And if you don't see it changing here, just go to viewport shading and set your color to attributes, and also check in front so that you see it a little bit more better. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and make an edge loop around the mouth. I'm going to start right around the corner of the mouth, and I'm just going to extrude this to the middle, and also the same for here. I'm going to add in extra edge loops just so that you can match the shape of the mouth. And I'm going to extrude this out and just extrude and match the vertices that we already have. And now we can fill this in with F. And also make sure to recalculate normal with Shift N if you see any weird shading. I'm going to add extra edge loops around the mouth just to better fit the shape of the mouth. We want to always make sure that we have same amount of vertices on the top and the bottom so that they line up properly with each other. It will make retopology easier when we have the top and the bottom vertices the same. So just make sure to keep that in mind. And now we can make an edge loop around the ears, just the same way I did for the eyes. I'm going to extrude this and F to fill that in. And you can see that we can see the edges that were extruded in front through the mesh. So I'm just going to go up to viewport shading and make sure to turn on backface culling so that it doesn't really distract us that much. I'm going to add in another loop cut here, the same here, and I'll just add in more loop cuts at the back. And now we can extrude out and actually make the edge loop around the ear, and we can join those two together and just fill everything up by pressing F. And now I'm just going to select the vertex here, duplicate this, and I'm going to extrude for the edge loop that goes over the nose bridge and comes right under the chin of the character. And when I'm extruding now, I want to make sure I'm lining up this vertex here, especially this one down here. I just want to make sure I'm lining them up because we will eventually merge this together. So just make sure to line them up like so. Then I'm going to extrude and just extend that edge loop like this. I'm going to fill in these faces and make sure to calculate normals. And then we need to make the final edge loop around the forehead and go all the way down to the jaw. Like so. And for the jaw too, you just want to make sure to line up the number of vertices that we have from this loop above it. Just make sure to line them up. And actually, we can just fill this in, and from here we can extrude this and follow the edge that we just extruded. And now let's fill those in and Shift N, make sure to recalculate normals. And now we can start to add in extra geometry and just fill in the empty spaces. And I'll show you how easy it is to do that. I'm going to add in extra loop cuts for the eyes, and I'll just arrange that into place and line that up. And now I'm going to extrude this vertex, and I'll just follow while keeping the same number of vertices. I'll just extrude along the edge loop that we drew earlier. And now we can join these two with F. Can join these two with F, and then I'm going to fill in those faces like so. I'll just adjust this to make sure that looks nice. All right. Now just give a little bit of space, because I think I still want to have I still want to expand this edge loop one more time. So I'll do the same. I'll just expand that edge loop like so. And I'll fill that in, and I'll just fill all the other faces with F. You can also start lining up this other edge loop so that it has the same amount of vertices, so that it will just be easier to connect. I'll add in an edge loop here. And also the same for here. I just want to add in an edge loop here so that we can easily connect these two. And maybe I'll add in one here so that we can easily connect these two. So I'll just select those two, M, and merge at center. Do the same for here, the same for here, and the same for here. I also do the same here, M at center. And then I want to add an extra loop around the mouth. And I'll just add in one like so. And also do the same for this part. And we can merge this M center. Select those two, M, and merge at center. And just select the two and press Shift R to repeat your action. Now just do the same here, merge at center. And I'll bring this a little bit down. And I'll add in two extra loop codes right there. I'm going to extrude this corner of the mouth. This is two that are closest to each other. I'm going to extrude this edge this way. And I'll add extra geometry to be able to connect them with this loop that we have here. So I'll add extra geometry, and I'll just merge those merge at center. And maybe I'll add in one extra one here and just merge these two at center. I'm going to select this edge from here to here. I'll just extrude this up and I'll make this around the nose. It just sits around the nose like so. And I'll merge these two together. And we can also pull this one down. And now let's just fill in the gaps here. We have two edge loops coming down from here, so I can add two here. Also add two here. And we can just fill that in with F. I'll select these two, fill that in. I can see one edge loop going this way. So I'll just add one extra one here and one extra one here. And now we can fill in those faces. Can also fill in these two faces. I think we need extra geometry here. I'm just adding two loop cuts that way. And we can actually go into sculpt mode and I'll turn on wireframe, and with the relax slide brush, I'm just going to smooth out the topology so that it looks a bit more smoother than what we had before, just like so. And also remember, we needed to have edge flow that goes around the nose. So we already have some vertices around the nose. So let's just extrude. I'll just select everything, E and X, to extrude this inward. And I'll line this up around the nose. I'll add in some extra edge loops, like two edge loops here, or two loop cuts here, and an extra one around here. I'm just going to add in also an extra one about here. And then I'm going to select these two edges, F, to fill them in. I'm going to add a loop cut like so. Then I'm going to fill this in with F. Select these two edges, fill them in with F. And I'll add another edge loop here. Fill this two with F. Now bring this way. I'll add an extra edge loop here. And now we need to figure out how to fill in this gap. I'll add in two extra loop cuts here, and I'll just select this, fill them in. I'll actually delete this face, and I'll add an extra loop cut here, and I'll just merge this at the center, like so, and that should be fine. And now we can add in extra geometry around the eye, and one here to just define the crease around the eye, and also one right here, like so. And I'll add in one extra one. You can go to sculpt mode, and with the slide relax brush, you just smooth out the topology. I'm going to add maybe an extra edge loop here, the same one. And since we also want to keep it symmetrical, I'm going to add one at the top, also add another one at the bottom. And I'll do the same here and here, and also the same here and here. And I'll go back to sculpt mode and just make sure everything is lined up perfectly. Now we can go back to edit mode, and now we can fill in the rest of the face and also the mouth. So I'll arrange these vertices that are around the mouth. I'll select these two and extrude them to the middle of the mouth, like so. And I'll just extrude, keeping the same number of vertices that we have. And now I'm just going to fill that in. It's F. And we can add in extra edge loops, like two of them here, just to better get the shape of the mouth. And I'll just add in an edge loop to define the crease of the mouth, and also one from inside. Maybe we don't want it too close on this side, so I'll just bring that out a little bit. And also I'll actually get into sculpt mode, and just with the slide relax brush, I'll just smooth out the geometry like so. And now let's focus on the nose. I'll just add in an extra geometry and just line this up with the curvature around the nose. And then from the nose here, I'll just extrude downwards to meet this other one. and I'll extrude it out this way. I'll just fill in these two edges. I'll add a loop cut here, and I'll select this vertex F and just fill in those faces. I'll add in a loop cut here and fill in that face, and same here, and just one more here to make that evenly spaced out. And we can add an edge loop around there. I'll go back to sculpt mode and just with the slide relax brush or the relax slide brush, I'll just smooth this out a bit more. And now you can focus on making the nostrils. I'm going to make a new face around here like this. And I'm just going to add a new face here and another one here. Make sure it's symmetrical up and down. And then I will fill in these faces like so. I'll shoot a vertex from here, join those with F and just fill in these faces. Let's see if we can just bring this up like so. And I'll just fill in these faces. I'll just turn on statistics so that I can see the number of vertices selected. And then I'll just add an extra edge loop here. And I'll extrude this in. For the nostrils, I'll add in an extra loop cut here. And with this selected, I'll Ctrl F and use the grid fill function to just fill that in. And maybe I'll change the span to, I'll leave that 2. Now I'll go to sculpt mode and just use the slide relax brush to relax the topology around that area. And now let's fill in the rest of the head and around the neck. And so to do that, let's just line up these edges. I'm going to merge this to M center, the same here. And I'll also do the same like so. Now adding 2 extra edge loops here and the same 2 edge loops here. I'll select those and merge them at center. And because I added 2 edge loops in front, I also want to add the same 2 behind. And now we can extrude from here. I'll just fill in the back of the head. And I'll just add in maybe 6 edge loops. We can always add and remove as you see fit. And I'll just add in 1 extra edge loop around the ear like so. And from here, let's extrude towards the back. Now let's fill in those faces. And I'm just going to arrange these faces a bit more. And now we can add in an edge loop that goes above the ear from the eye. And just fill those in. And I'll add in an extra edge loop here. Also the same here. And make sure this one is flat like so. You can always add in extra edge loops to just help you fill in those faces. I'll add in an extra edge loop here and fill this in. And I'll add in 1 more here and I'll add in 2 more here. Now just fill this in and I'll add in 2 edge loops. I can see 2 edge loops coming in from this way. So I'll add in 2 edge loops and I'll fill that face in. And I'll add 1 more here and I'll just fill that in. And then I'll go to sculpt mode in the slide relax brush. Just make sure to smooth out the topology. And I'll just add in 2 more edge loops this way. And I'll smooth out the topology. I'll add in an extra edge loop here and here. Now let's fill in this face. And I'll merge these two my center at center. You can also extrude along the jaw like so. Add in extra edge loops. I'll select these edges at the back, extrude them downwards, and just fill this face in. Then I'll try to join these. I'll just add in more loop cuts. And then I'll try to join this. Let's fill this one in, and then can get rid of this. And then we just need to add 1, 2, 3 loop cuts here. And then we fill that in. Then let's also just extrude that edge towards the back. And I'm going to add in the exact same number of vertices as we have on top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to add in 9 loop cuts. And then I'm going to fill those in. Now with the loop around the neck, you can just extrude this down. And loop those are unenabled, you can just press circle. And just turn off clipping here. Those vertices don't mesh together. And you can just pull this one back in. And then we can add 5 loop cuts. I'm going to duplicate that shrink wrap modifier and Ctrl A to apply the first one. I'm just going to smooth out the vertices that we have already. I'm going to apply the mirror modifier at this point. Also make sure X symmetry is turned on. And now we can start to smooth out these vertices like so. I'm going to add in a subdivision surface modifier and just see this smooth and also uncheck in front. I'll hide the annotation, and you can see that we have been able to keep some of the details from our sculpted mesh to our retopologized mesh. I'm not going to show how I do the ear in this video. It's going to be an assignment for you. You can join the Discord if you want me to help you out there. Hopefully you can figure that out on your own. Yeah, catch you guys in the next one.